Hi, Peter from Record. Following on from the previous video when I did the band wheels, done the bearings, and I've refitted them and put the guides in place. So just a few things to do now, and one of the things I thought I'd do is to fit a blade, track it and do the guides while the table's not on. It'll give you an idea of all the functions of the bits and pieces that go together, so how to adjust the screws and to get the best out of setting your machine up. So before I actually put the blade on, at the back of the machine we've got the tracking knob here and a little wing nut that locks it up against the face of the bandsaw. Now what that does is when you put your blade on and you're rotating it by hand, do it nice and gently, and you can see the position of the actual bandsaw blade. You want it approximately, the blade, to run in the centre of the band wheel. And to do that, this is what that's what does that application. And it's opposites. So if you want to go back a bit, you adjust in a little bit, and just a little bit at a time. So when you've got the door open and you're spinning it, and you haven't got the full tension on, you can actually see the blade moving. And once you've got it near enough right, you lock it off. This lever here is the cam lever. This is what puts the tension on. So we work together with that, with your tension indicator inside. And the tension indicator inside is there or thereabouts. It's to give you a guide of the relevant position. But that could change dependent on the type of blade and the way it's been cut. Different blades from different manufacturers will have different thicknesses, and also when they've been butt welded together and chopped, there might be just a fraction difference in the length. Not a lot, but it will all alter the pressure of the blade, so against the indicator. So first off, we're going to put this in position. You can see what I'm going to adjust. Also with the rise and fall, you've got a locking lever here to confirm the position. Whenever you move the arm up and down, release that, move it up and move it into position, lock it off. Always lock it off, because if you don't lock it off, this will actually move, and when you confirm it, it'll actually move into a position. So it just moves a fraction. So when you're setting your guides up, always lock that off, because that's your working position again. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. So first off, if I move around a little bit and drop the wheels off. So if I open the doors, I've got quite a large blade to put back on here. I've got a 3/4 3 TPI, so it's quite a large blade to get through here. So with these doors, it's easy to take off. Just put them aside, only on the bottom one. Move your tool arm to approximately the centre of the band wheel, so as you can get your blade in. And you've got your tension indicator. It's not set at the moment, you've got nothing on there, but what you want is to probably ease it off a little bit, just to make it a little bit easier to get into there, just so as you don't drop down through there. We start at the bottom first. Before you put your blade on, just check the teeth are running in the right direction. They should be pointing downwards. This blade's been on before, but it doesn't do any harm to actually give it a wipe as well. Get some of the dirt off it. Drag it forward. Just make it a little bit easier. It's come from a manufacturer, and even that one does say it's been on before, but it's still got some dirt on there. Just give it a quick dry off. This blade, I'll say, has been on before. I've done a little bit of work with it. I do know this blade's got a kink in it, and that can happen with these larger blades. That's why I normally hang mine up on a nail or something like that. I don't reduce this one down in size. It's a thick section and you're likely to get a kink in it, and it's probably been had a kink in it from when it was originally packed, but it's not going to make any difference to what I'm going to do, because I've just been cutting up some sleepers and some rough stuff, so it'll make a lot of difference. So if I introduce it into the bottom, and sometimes with these it doesn't hurt to actually wear some gloves. It's a little bit tight through this blade guard. In fact, I'll take that off out the way, just so as we can see the guides. I've got the guides themselves well opened up and back as well out of the way. So now if I put a bit of pressure onto there, and I'm not fighting against the lever at the back at the moment, take a little bit off. What I don't want is full pressure at the moment. I still want a little bit of slack in the blade, because if the big blade, if you put your full pressure on, you're not going to move it when you track it. It'll just stay there. Bear that in mind. So I'm clear of all my guides and taking it back. Now she's going straight towards the back at the moment, so I need to bring her forward a touch. So before, just do it nice and gently. Like I say, I want to come forward, so I want to actually wind that backwards a little bit to bring her forwards. And if you have a, I don't see if you can see in the camera, but the blade is just starting to move now. So what I can do now is take it off a little bit, add a little bit more tension on there. And even her up. And it's only just approximately centre, you don't have to measure anything else like that. Just take your time, do it nice and gently. I'm on 5/8 at the moment, and say that don't take the gauge as literal. What I don't want is to be able to touch that blade easily into the body. And the acid test when you've finished your tension is actually to run the machine, and you want that blade to run in a straight line, like a pencil line against a sheet of paper or something like that. And if it fluctuates a little bit, stop the machine, apply a little bit of tension, and then run it again. And you'll soon get it sorted out. That's not far out. So what I can look to do now is to partially set these guides up, because we can see these quite clearly. So if I bring that forward, what I don't want to do is, like I say, come into contact with those teeth, so I still want to be behind there. And the rear one, I'm going to take that forward now. Just a small gap there, so as when I go onto the cut, it carries the weight of the blade. But I don't want it touching it. you can just see that kink in the blade when you get close to the band wheel, to the bearing on the back there. It just touches it. So that's not far out. There's a little gap there. So when that goes in, these are still not coming into contact. In fact, it could come a little fraction more forward of that and lock that off. And the two side pads you control by just undoing the screw and taking those close up. You've got some slack in there, so take the slack out first before you move it forward. And again, check each individual one. Pinch that up. Some people put a piece of paper or something through there. I used to use feeler gauge years ago when I was doing the service work and setting the machines up for start right machines in schools and stuff like that. In colleges I used to carry a little feeler gauge to do it. Just a little bit close on that one. It's more because there's a kink in the blade, it catches it. And there's just a fraction on the back, it wants to go back a touch. So those not too far. So if I had the table on, I'd bring this down to about the sort of mid position to set this up, so it's halfway between the top and bottom sort of thing. So again with this one, I can adjust that forward to the back of the blade, but I want to bring these two side ones now a little bit more forward. So I'm undoing the back screw and just take that forward, just again behind the gullet of the teeth, pinch that up and look to introduce those. So this is your adjusting part of the guide and this is your locking ring. I can take that up to the back of the blade and then just pinch it back in my fingers so as it's clear, and just check that it's clear. So a little touch more back. And then adjust these in. It's a little bit, because you've got the guard here, you have to sort of try and look down there to try and see a gap. Again, you've got some float in these guides, so if you take the excess out first, just push them back to confirm them, then what I do is normally close one eye and just look straight down. Just maintain a small gap in there. Get as close as you possibly can with it actually spinning. Because as soon as you switch the machine on and you start doing some cutting, even with a good extractor on, you're still going to have muck carrying through, and it'll soon start them spinning anyway. So we're not too bad there. It's noticeable as kink in this blade though, so I say it's okay. It'll do the job. So my blade position is okay. The guides are now set up. And this is good for you, somebody that's new to this type of bandsaw. Just purchased one. Say it's the same for the 300, 350, also our BS400 as well. So it's the same configuration, maybe just a little bit bigger. So when you get the machine, build it up, just introduce yourself to the guides and stuff, so as you're when you get the table on, you know how everything operates properly. So next point for me is to actually fit the table, and then I'm going to just square up to the blade, because I've already got the new upgraded fence on there, so I can adjust my fence off the T-slot, so it's quite easier process to do. So hopefully that was some use to you, and I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers, bye for now.